What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. So I was supposed to make this video a while ago, but I never really got around to doing it. What happened was I put on my community tab. I asked my subscribers what did they want me to talk about. And so a few people, well, no, one individual was like, we hear about the violence that occurs in Chicago. We hear about the bad stuff. We hear about the gangs and all of that. Can you tell us about some of your fondest memories about growing up in Chicago, some of the fun stuff that occurred? And so I'm like, absolutely, So let me just say this. Let me tell y'all my story. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. South side Chicago all day long. I never lived in any part of it. Only lived on the south side. Not the north side, not the west side, only south side. So I grew up in like a lot of wild areas, you know what I mean, as a kid. I grew up 65th and Low in a high-rise building called Low Terrace. It was a project type building. I lived on 65th and Minerva, which was like a 3-minute drive from O Block, aka Parkway Gardens, and right by Drove City on 64th and Ellis. I lived on I lived on 48th in Indiana. I lived on, that's in the Bronzeville area, right by the Robert Taylor Project housing. I lived on 87th Street, right off Cottage Grove. I lived on 88th and Langley. I lived on 86 in Euclid. I lived on 107 in Church. I done lived all throughout the South Side. But what remained constant was the love in my household and the love from my family in general. My mama was a single mother for a lot of my youth. You know what I mean? Her and my dad split up when I was about 4 years old. But my dad always been in my life. I could go to my dad's house for months at a time if I really wanted to. My dad was always had me a lot too. I was with him a ton. But they split up, they was in different households. So my mom was a single mother till she was probably like, till I was probably like 13, 14. She married my stepfather at like 14, right? But anyway, with my mom having us in the house, it was me and I had two sisters. My mother used to always want to make sure that we didn't only see the hood. So my mama would take us to Navy Pier, which is a big tourist attraction in the city. She would take us to Navy Pier, even when she didn't have a car. She'd get on a bus and the train and take us to these different places so we can see not just, again, we can see there's more to life and more to Chicago than just, the hood type stuff. It's really nice areas, affluent areas, and really nice things and nice places to visit. She would take us to the Field Museum as well, downtown. I remember when my mom first got a car, she didn't even know how to drive. She just got a car just because she wanted us to be mobile. And I remember she was learning how to drive while she had the car, right? I remember her braking hard a little bit at times and all that type of stuff too. But, just trying to get us around. She would take us to the YMCA. My mom worked at the YMCA at one point, and I was a student at the YMCA. So we had like swimming classes and all of that. Ask me, do I know how to swim? No, I do not. But I was like 3 and 4 years old. They had us in the water. We was doing all type of recreational activities. Everything like that. We had a lot of fun, man. My mom just had us on the go, taking us to the north side, taking us up north to see different stuff. When her job would give her free tickets to Chicago Bulls games, she would take us so we could be around in that atmosphere. We at the United Center, all that different type of stuff. Even my mom working at United Airlines. She wasn't a flight attendant, but she worked for United Airlines. And so we would be able to fly for free. And we flying first class when we 5 and 6 years old. I'm 5, I'm like 6 years old. My sister 8. We flying first class to go to Disney World and going to Mall of America and Minnesota and all that type of stuff. Now, that's not Chicago memories, but, that was just stuff I remember growing up in the city my mom was able to do for us. We used to go to the Bud Billiken Parade, which is the biggest black parade in the United States of America. It's the back to school parade for people in Chicago. The Bud Billiken Parade always has celebrities there. Celebrities on the floats, celebrities performing, all that different type of stuff. Like, that was an event. You would see everybody you went to school with at the Bud Billiken Parade. Everybody was outside hustling. If you couldn't make $1 at the Bud Billiken Parade, you was doing something wrong. If you were selling stuff, people were selling waters, donuts, cookies, all type of stuff, right? And that was a lot of fun for us. I remember, speaking of like people selling stuff and all that, and I said donuts. I remember going to Old Fashioned Donuts in Roseland, a black-owned donut shop where, now Roseland, this is the hood. And the white police officers used to come over there to get them donuts because the donuts were so amazing. For real, man. I remember going to Taste of Chicago, all these different places. We were going to, I told y'all my maternal family is from the Robert Taylor Projects. 16-story project buildings lined up and down State Street, front end on Federal, back end on State Street, right? And we'd be in there, and again, we'd be playing outside in a little, it wasn't a porch, but it was like, when you stepped outside, it was like a long little, not a gangway, but you kind of can describe it like that, right? It was gated off, so you couldn't fall from the top part, right? Because my auntie stayed on the 15th floor and built it in 5100. And then when she was in 5135 at the Robert Taylor, she stayed on the 5th floor. We'd be out there playing, and we'd be, I'm talking about playing with the basketball, all different type of stuff, man. It was just a good time for us as kids. We used to have the water guns, spraying water guns at each other, everything. I remember, matter of fact, when we was in the Robert Taylors, there was this program called Black on Black Love, which it was in the projects and was teaching black folks to love other black people and not to be in conflict with other black folks. We would go down there and do all type of arts and crafts and clay, do all type of clay figures and drawing and coloring and all different type of just crafts we would take back home to our parents, etc. It was really fun. I remember growing up, Harold's Chicken was a delicacy for us. Like, that was something we ate on a regular basis. My grandmama stayed right around the corner from the Harold's Chicken on 103rd and Halsted. Excuse me. The Harold's Chicken that y'all see in Kanye West Through the Wire video, right? We go eat Harold's Chicken. We watch the game. I watch the games with my pops. My dad, we be in there chilling, having a good time, laughing. My mom used to take us to the show. The show is the movies, but in Chicago, we say the show. My mama would take us there. My pops would give her some money to take us to the movies. We'd go to on a Saturday night. We'd go see a movie, and that was fun for us. Like, going to go get some popcorn, getting slushies. So, we'd be sneaking in all type of little stuff from the dollar store. Go to that Family Dollar or something, a Dollar Tree. Boy, be having all type of Skittles and stuff all in your coat pockets. Sitting down up in there and just getting down, snacking and enjoying your time watching the movies. My mama is a movie person, so we grew up going to the movie theater all the time. Like, at one point, I remember when my mom had moved to Markham when I was like 23, right? My mom moved to Markham, and when I was coming home from grad school, we stayed around the corner from the Marcus Theater in Country Club Hills. And we would go there pretty often, a lot, man. But that was in Markham, that's not Chicago. But my mama didn't move to Markham until I was like 23, and then she was only there for like 4 or 5 years. But anyway, I remember going to the rink. Y'all know Chance the Rapper had the song Juke Jam. We gonna have a party, we gonna have a juke jam. I think, like we used to do. I think Justin Bieber was on that song, I believe, right? But he was talking about going to the roller skating rink. But people, when we was 12 and 13 years old, we wasn't going to the skating rink to skate. We was going there to juke, with girls grinding up on you to slow music and y'all holding hands with each other. Too damn grown. Too much grown shit was going on. For real. But that is what we was doing. We was going there to get phone numbers and to go get juked on. And it was like an event for everybody, right? And speaking of that, going to the skating rink, because I never could skate. To this day, I can't skate at all. But we would be going there to go, find girls and stuff. When you 13, you first started getting into girls and everything. I remember going to the Paul Hall Center on 101st and Halsted for little events and stuff. Like, I remember graduating in 8th grade. The Paul Hall Center had this little 8th grade graduation celebration for everybody across the city. And we would go up in there, man. I remember me and my homie Kiefer, my homie Eric, we was up in there getting it cracking. I remember that to this day. Like, it was a super fun event. Like, getting juked. I gotta show y'all. It was Chicago little kids out their mind doing this grinding on folks, man. Crazy. But I remember growing up, going to school. In the morning times, I would wake up. I turn on the radio station. I wake up at 5 in the morning, and Power 92 would always play Nas Good Morning at 5 in the morning on the dot, and that's how I became really enamored with that song. I remember when I was a little younger, Crazy Howard McGee would always be on the radio station in the morning. And he'd be acting a fool. It's the weekend, baby. On Friday, he'll say that, man. It was a good time, man. I remember the birthday line on WGCI calling in. Y'all remember the birthday. If you're from Chicago, you remember calling in for the birthday line on your birthday, singing a song for WGCI birthday line. Everybody in Chicago know what I'm talking about for real. And I remember being on the school bus and Tom Joyner Morning Show playing, you know, on the way to school. Oh, 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 it's the Tom Joyner Morning Show. I remember my grandma used to stay on, my grandma and my granddad, God rest his soul, they stayed on 120th in LaSalle in a really big house. And the house was really nice. On the inside, like you couldn't tell from the outside that the house was super nice. On the inside, it was super nice. My grandfather had a studio in the lower basement. It was a lot of fun for us. You know, my grandfather was a drummer. And at this house, we had all our family events. Christmas Eve, we would go to my grandmama's house. We'd open up one gift every year from a family member. We'd celebrate Christmas with grandma, granddaddy, and all my cousins. Me and my cousins, we grew up like siblings. We was that close when we was kids. We all be at grandmama's house, you know, making pallets everywhere in the bed, all type of, my grandma, we had pallets everywhere. Some people some on the couch, some of us on the floor. My grandma be making breakfast for us in the morning. We wake up and smell that food cooking. My grandfather would make salmon croquettes. Love salmon croquette, right? My grandfather would barbecue all the time on Labor Day, Memorial Day, all that type of stuff. One time, somebody took my granddad was cooking some ribs, cook a rack of ribs. He went into the house. By the time he came out, somebody in the neighborhood stole the ribs off the damn grill. I was like, yo, who the hell? I said, I know nobody grabbed this with their bare hands. That was hot as hell, probably. Somebody was watching my granddad cook them ribs and probably had a fork and container to grab them ribs off the grill and got up out of there, skedaddle, right? But yeah, man, we would have all these family events at my grandmama crib on 120th and LaSalle. I remember my mama used to take us to Hyde Park. Hyde Park is an affluent area where a lot of black people live. Matter of fact, Barack Obama used to live in Hyde Park when he was still the senator, right? He was still a senator. And Hyde Park, we used to go, my mama would take us to go eat at Boston Market. This when Boston Market was hot at the time, right? We eat at Boston Market. We be all up and through Hyde Park area. My mama worked in Hyde Park as a teenager at a hair place, a hair salon called Yahia's. My mama used to work there when she was like 15, 16. You're not even supposed to be working at 15. My mama was working there at 15 years old. She had stopped by in there and talked to him and all of that and talked to the coworkers. My mama used to take us, my dad used to take us to Rainbow Cone on 92nd and Western on a hot day. I mean, one day it was so damn hot in the house. We ain't had no AC at the time. And my pops took me and my sisters to go get some ice cream. We up in there getting down, eating that ice cream. Rainbow Cone be cracking. Everybody know Rainbow Cone on the south side of Chicago on 92nd and Western, man. So I had a lot of fun growing up in Chicago, and I always remember that and take that with me. It was fun.